Yeah, we are back. We are back for another Sunday live. I've been being super consistent with these. I know last week I took last Sunday off. I was busy last Sunday, but I did make sure I dropped the video for y'all. And then here we are back today. Um, Back to our regular scheduled programming. Back to our regular scheduled programming. Hold on, let me get ready to pull the chat up. All right, there we go. How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? Let me know. Y'all excited for the week? Y'all nervous? Y'all feeling good? You chilling? You 50-50 on how to feel? Let me know. Me personally, I'm excited. Two reasons why I'm excited. But I'm gonna see what y'all say first. We got two reasons in particular why everybody honestly should be excited. From a day trader perspective, and for my people that like to swing trade, perfect time for y'all too. It's so interesting being like at a point in my life where like we will go from learning the skill, right? Then we go to implementing the skill. Then we go to once we learn the skill and understand the power that we really have from learning how to trade and understand the markets and understanding like certain news events, you start to realize like we're really living in the matrix when you already think about it. Like it's so many of our peers or so many people that's around you that have no idea of the opportunities that are constantly presenting themselves every single day on the charts. I feel my voice is crap, but like I really think about it. Uh, every single day, every time we're on the charts, it's always opportunity. And I was talking to I forgot who I was talking to about this. My camera should be on now. There you go. I forgot who I was talking to about this, but I think it was one of my friends. But I was talking about how like I feel like which one would y'all? I feel like it's worse. I was about to ask y'all this, but I'm gonna tell you my opinion first. But I feel like it's worse to know what's going on and still not taking advantage of it, right? Like I feel like it's 10 times worse that I have the skill set. I know the conditions that the market is setting me up for, and I'm still not taking advantage of it, or I'm not putting myself in a position to succeed or win, right? Compares to the person that's like oblivious, they have no idea what's going on, they don't know no better, right? But you, or not necessarily you guys, but like for the average person that does know about trading, for the person that does study the charts, that's on it every single day, that's always paying attention and so on and so on, for you it's kind of like, no, it's no excuse because you've seen the opportunity happen. That's how you find people that be like, oh, I knew the market was going to do that. Well, if you knew it was going to do that, stop sitting there watching it, because the same way you're sitting there watching the opportunity happen, there's somebody else that is taking advantage of it, right? That they're actually executing. It's one thing to learn the skills, another thing to actually use the resources of what you have learned and use it to the best of your ability, like to the best of your knowledge that you know currently, right? So enough of me rambling, right? I know that was my little quick 1-2 for the nights. Let's actually get into a couple things that I want to look for this week. We can go over news real quick. Of course, first starting off, we are still in a shutdown. Nothing has changed. Um, this is so funny. Don't worry about China. It will all be fine. Highly respected president. See, manipulation, and that's the reason why we saw this gap here. And this is also going to cause a rally tomorrow. It'd be so fun. It'd be so obvious, bro. Just manipulation at its finest. I'm gonna get into all that. So, taking a quick look at this. We have Powell speaking at 12:20 on Tuesday. No news on Monday, so Monday gonna be a slow day or a one-directional type of day. Wednesday, have news at 8:30, so that doesn't matter. That's gonna be before opening bell. Thursday, we have GDP for our GDP peers, the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, and then we have all of these tentative news that's gonna come out for our PPI and retail sales, unemployment claims, and so on. Like all this is still in factor with the government shutdown. So hopefully this week we might see it finally be like lifted and everything should be back to normal, or it's gonna be another week of we're gonna see the markets start acting the type of way or feeling the type of way. So, but we should know probably by Tuesday or Wednesday. For my academy students, I'll update y'all on the site with the actual official news, or you can just look at it yourself and see when we have the releases, right? So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday should be a perfect day to trade. Should be nice volatility on the charts. Friday, there's no news, so if you're gonna trade, I would probably say maybe do it during London session, or make sure, honestly, don't even risk it at all if you don't know what you're doing on Fridays, right? So that's it for news. Thursday is still tentative, but Tuesday and Wednesday we still have opportunity, and then Monday will probably be either a slow day or a one direction type of move that's happening on the charts, right? And it's already kind of like already starting off because of the gap, but that's cool. We about to get into that. So overall, from a swing trade perspective, when we talk about swing trader or long-term portfolio traders like 401ks, set up 401ks, Roth IRAs, all the whole shebang, right? They always tell you what? Buy the dip. They always tell you to buy the dip. Oops, I just missed my notes. So since we know that they always say buy the dip, or whenever there's like a drop in the market, we don't get scared, we don't get nervous. This was just a sell tactic to make the market sell off. We're gonna stay disciplined, we're gonna stay poised, and we're gonna focus on what is our overall picture, like what is the overall move, the direction that the market has been going in, what should we be expecting the market to be doing, right? And once we figure that out, we'll be good to go. Overall though, I should already know where my bias is going to be leaning towards, and that's going to be the buys. The only thing that was interesting when I was looking at it on Friday was, since it sold off so great, right, we needed to find out, like, okay, if I go to the 4 hour, when the market was all the way down here, so I'm like, bro, for me to really know when it's time for US 30 to go for buys, I would need to see like a bullish engulfing all the way up here. Like this would let me know, like, okay, if it closes above here, this is like the efficient move that we could take, and we would look to take the buys right back to the sales that started this crazy sell-off, right? Because it definitely wasn't supposed to sell off crazy like this in one day. Now, since the gap is so strong and so big, yes, there's going to be opportunity in between here to catch a move, right? So this is smooth 499 points, aka 4,000 pips. Since it's so volatile right now, this is where the patience comes into play. This is when you have to be disciplined, because this is going to be people trying to like manipulate the charts and try to like catch a move, trying to rush the buys right here. And we don't want to rush nothing. Even if the market pushes up here, I'm not taking buys on NAS. I just realized my NAS 100. I'm not taking buys on NAS 100 until it comes back to close this gap, right? Sometimes we might see, let me see. Sometimes we might see something like this. It's so crazy because like it can do the same thing it did yesterday. I mean, not yesterday. It can do the same thing it did last week. Last week, we saw that it created a higher low. It actually gapped higher. And then during London session, it just kept creating higher lows. And then it took off for the buys all the way up here. The problem is if it does something like this gap still needs to be closed first. So if it does end up taking off for the buys tonight, we're still going to be looking for sales, because it has to come back to retest this gap, which is why like my bias as of right now, and I'm glad though. So we have our resistance. This area should play as our resistance, or if not here, I'm gonna drag my zone up a little bit right here. This is the area where I know when Nas is ready to break out and go for the full swings back to the highs, right? But for now, what I would want to see tonight on the charts, we need to find out where our support level is going to be during Tokyo, and we need to find out where our high. Technically, this could be a high, but I want to drag it to where was the last previous lower high stretcher since we're already here, right? So this is gonna play as an area as my high, and I'm gonna go ahead and drag this zone now back down to right here, right? Why? Because this is where the low is at on Friday, and also technically, actually, we don't gotta put it right there. We can put it right here. That's where the low is at on Friday. So I would want to see the full retest right here. But at bare minimum, like let's say I just retest this support and take off, I'm cool with that because after it sells off and retest here, we've officially got our close of the gap that happened, obviously, when the news dropped. Well, when he made this announcement right here earlier. That's what helped push the buys off of the rally. So after we get this retest, this is the area that I'm going to be wanting to look for my buy entries. For my people that's in the academy, actually, I just thought about that. For people that had the live trading room in the past, you should still have access to the calendar as well on your homepage when you log in. And if for people that have access to the academy, make sure y'all are up on Tuesday and Thursday when I am trading live, so that way y'all can trade with me. We're probably going to be trading the same way we always trade, like on our lower time frames. But since the move is going to be more volatile, it's going to be really, honestly, a quick day. Yeah, we can look for swings, but honestly, I'm going to take what the market give me because the moves are still going to be there. We're just going to be done for the day quicker. Anything else would just be extra pros, right? So what I want to see, first play for the night though, or what I want to see going in between now and to Wednesday or Tuesday. Retest back down to here, somewhere down in this area. I'm going to look for buys around here. My stop loss is going to be right under this zone. Remember what I said, it's volatile. So when I drag this from here to here, 100 points, right? So keep that in mind. If you don't want to risk that much, obviously everybody's risk preference is different. This is where I'm going to set my stop loss to, and then my TP targets will just be back to the previous lower high stretches. So for me, this will still be 200 points, aka 2,000 pips. So my TP1 target will be here, and then my TP2 target will be here. This is just from a day trading standpoint, right? And lately, I've been focusing on day trading more just because it's been way easier to teach it to my academy students. And then also, just so y'all, I feel like it's not even how I feel like, it's statistically proven that a lot of things that kills traders, new traders, beginner traders, or anybody in general, the biggest factor that kills a lot of traders is greed, right? So we focus on not trying to catch a full swing, and you focus on hitting your TP targets every single day, the same TP that you've been smacking every single day consistently. That's going to lead to those withdrawals. That's going to lead to those payouts and passing combines and challenges and things of that nature, right? So instead of looking for a full home run off of this entry, my first goal would just be TP here, TP here. The only way I will hold this entry if momentum is clearly showing me that it's pushing strongly for the buys. Or if I twin trade it, which means I place two positions, then I can have one target that I'm setting here, and then I can decide if I want to let one trade try to go for the runner. Because at this point, the second entry doesn't really matter. Yes, I'm in profit, but my main goal for the day was to hit this TP target here or this TP target right here. If I hit that, I'm already done for the day. This entry, the second entry that I placed, will just roll as a just like a free trade to take, basically. Just like in football where the ref throw a flag on a play and you got a free play. I look at this as a free trade. It turns into a runner, I take it. Regardless, if not, my trailing is going to be a profit. If it wick me out, it wick me out. If it don't, it don't. Right? That's how I kind of like look at the market. So this is gonna be trade idea number one. Buy setup, stop loss area where I would look to set my stop loss at. This would be like my hard stop. Maybe I might have a tighter one myself, depending on like how the market presents itself. But this would be like a hard stop loss that I would set, and then these would be my targets that I would look to aim for on the OS 100. Ultimately though, for the week, I am bullish. I do want to see a recovery back up into this high. If we can't get the full recovery up into this high, I've went over this before, so I know we're free on YouTube right now. So I'm gonna get y'all right because you already got two of my strategies that I use. I went over this before. If we don't get the full retest, I'm not tripping because If it fails to close higher than this 61, or if it fails to close, like if they give me a retest to my 61 and my 78, cool. And it fails to close higher than this is letting me know that we're getting a trend change that's about to get ready to happen. We're just catching the trend reversals early. So we're going to catch this pullback, beautiful buys. And then if it fails to close higher than the 78, right? Really, most people say, oh, higher than the high. Now we know we're in a downtrend, right? There's either about to be a rally and it's going to come full retest, or it's going to fail to even come up in here and it's going to create a lower high. And then we're going to see, okay, cool. Now it's 100 is in a downtrend. And we're going to be taking what? Sales. And we're just going to keep selling until the market indicates that it's time to go for the continuation of the uptrend. Me personally, I would love for it to just rally and just be bullish and go full circle retest. But obviously, we can only go based off of the data that we're seeing right now on the charts. So that's how we're going to apply it. Maybe Tuesday, for my people that's going to be joining me on the lives, Tuesday we might see the 4 retests, and then we might already be looking to sell. If not, I might be still bullish for the buys. Right? So for right now, I want to see the close of the gap. Take buys down here, TP1, TP2. If it breaks above, it's like even if it like closes above here, technically there's opportunity to scout, but I will only scout to this area. I wouldn't try to still look for home runs yet. I would just scout right to that lower high, and this would be like my buy entry. So this would be a buy area. Stop loss will be under the current low, which is down here, and then TP will just be 1,000 pips. Because I don't know if it's going to respect this and sell off, or if it's going to continue to go. Right? But if I had to scout, or if I was, I ain't going to say if I have to, because you don't have to do nothing when it comes to trading. If I wanted to take a scalper trade, or if I'm like, you know what, let me see if it closes above here, I'll take this buy off the break. Boom, TP target, quick 1,000 pips, I'm out of the trade. If it starts to sell off, there might be an opportunity for you to look for sales right back down to the gap, and that's 5,000 pips, right? So far, it's looking like everybody is good. I don't see no questions, so I'm gonna keep it going. But ultimately, like I said, close of the gap first, or I don't even care if the gap don't close until Thursday. This will still be a setup that we can look for after that gap is closed on the charts. US 30. Same exact setup, same exact principle, what we talked about. Oversold because of news manipulation. It gapped over here as well, so we're going to be looking for the same exact scenario. I want to at least at minimum, so this is my current low. This is our support. But at minimum, you at least have to close this gap for me. Right? I want to see the retest here to close the gap. And that would kind of be like the start of my confirmation to want to start looking for buys. But if it comes to retest this support structure down here, I'm totally okay with that as well. It just depends on, once again, how the market structure is looking when it pushes down back to close this gap area. When we talk about buys, if we talk about, let's say you don't want to enter off of this retest here, you don't want to enter off of this retest here, you're going to be extremely patient, you're waiting to enter the buys. Like I said, it's hard. It was only a little bit harder to see because it was on the higher time frames. But as you can see here, this was the last lower high, the last pullback that started all of this right here. So if it breaks above here, and this is a setup once again that can come later on in the day as well. If it breaks above here, you get your retest. Boom. After that retest back to the zone structure, we take it once again back to that high. It will be either full retest here, or it will be right at the bottom of the support zone right there. And then remember what I said before as well. Same thing we talked about on Nas with the fibs. It don't got to come all the way up here if it doesn't want to, right? This could be the start of the overall downtrend. So if it comes into this, if it comes up into this level of SMAC TP, first, let's say our first TP target is the 61 right here. And then the second TP target is the 78, but that's perfect because it's right on the retest of that previous zone. Boom. Cool, we're not tripping. So like, let's say it bought, retest, boom, creates a higher low. Whoops. Let me go ahead and try this. So first TP, you're already like 900 pips. Second TP, you're already floating 2,700 pips. That's already a fire. First of all, the first TP alone is already more than enough what you need, and you should be good. Second TP, boom, home run. This would be the full retest coming all the way up here for the swing, but if it decides that it wants to close right? If it decides that it wants to just create lower highs and start its downtrend, then we're gonna respect that, and then we're gonna look for sales, right? So the sell areas will be like, these will be the areas of interest. And I'm gonna get rid of my fibs in a few. Hold on. Boom. And then honestly, MA's gonna go away right now too. So like these are all the areas of interest. So if I enter the buys, this will be the buy entry. The stop loss will be tight right in that zone, which is why it's gonna be important to wait for that retest. And then you're gonna look for the continuation. So yeah, so it should be, let me get rid of this. If it does a zone breakout, we look for the break, cool. Retest the zone, builds to close back inside, but instead creates a higher low off of this level. Now we have our green light to enter at around 45,993. Right? After we get the retest back to 45,993, you can have a tight stop loss, or you can have like my mental stop loss, like my hard stop loss for me will be all the way under this zone right here. Because it's just still the same strategy logic. The only difference is now, since the market is volatile, this is a steeper stop loss. I know some of you might not enjoy having a steeper stop loss like this. So you got two options. Lower your risk management, like lower the risk of the lot size, so that way you can match it up. Or you could choose to have a tighter stop loss. Regardless, you're going to have to let the trade breathe, or you're going to probably get wicked out, right? So with so much volatility, like if you guys have smaller accounts, I would probably recommend that y'all just don't go full margin. Go lower risk because the reward could still be the same because of how volatile the pairs for US30 and NOS is right now on the charts. So ultimately, that's what I was saying. If we get the break, we get the retest. This is the solid buy entry. This is going to be a TP1. This is going to be a TP2. And then this will be the full swing. I want the full swing, but I don't want y'all to fall in love with the full swing, because if it don't give you a full retest back up in here and it starts selling off out of nowhere, you're going to be like, dang, I should have just took profit when you could have just set your TPs here anyway. And then if it continues to go, then you can start looking for another buy entries and so on and so on. Now, if you're a swing trader like me, right, because I do both, for swing positions, the only way I would hold a trade longer than like if it got all the way up here would be if I get our main setup, which would have been all the way down here. So we get the retest, we get the close of the gap, or if I can get a full retest down here, honestly, I probably will set a bottom down here for the week. This would be like a buy area of interest that I would love to take an entry at. And it ain't gotta be here. Let's say for y'all, let's say you do this. Retest full support. Once it comes back out, we take buys. And then TP1 is literally rinse and repeat. TP1 right here, because that's, once again, that'd be the close of the gap. TP2 would just be back at this lower high area structure. And then we could talk about the final swing being all the way up here, or just at least back to the final zone that it broke out of. And then for pip count, so y'all can see 2,000 pips, 6,000 pips, 9,000 pips. And you could try to go for 13,000, but it just really, like I said, it just depends on like what y'all situation is and what y'all are looking for. If this is gonna be our first swing trade, just take it back to the bottom of the zone, right here. That's what I would do personally. If it's my first swing trade, I'm not gonna look for the extras up here. Go for the one that has a higher probability of smacking. Because regardless, once it come up in here, I'm expecting it to sell off. So I'm expecting, like, not saying it's gonna happen this week. Let me make that clear. Let's say if it does push all the way up in here, we know regardless the way US30 or even if I was on NOS, same thing. Price action works very like butter on this pair. So it will literally hit this price, and then it will definitely sell to retest this zone structure right here, right? And this is still a pullback that's probably like 2,000 pips from here to here. Yep, awkward. So instead of holding it, you gotta, all right, let me hop in the sales, boom. If it closed back out, I got another fire sale entry I could take down here. Or if it retests this again, now I have another buy entry I could take. And I'm taking it right back to the high. So that's like my main two setups. I really just gave y'all like, I look, just gave y'all like 3 or 4 setups on 30. We talked about this buy off the gap. We talked about the buy off the break. I talked about the sales that's gonna come. This is more of a day trading type of trade. The sales that will come off of here, where I would just take it back to the low, which is still 2,000 pips. And then if it respects it, we take another buy setup for another 2,000 pips back to the upside. Or if it breaks again, yeah, I really just gave you a whole bunch of setups on this. If it breaks again, this is another sell break that you guys can look for to take as well. Back to TP1, back to TP2, back to TP3. Right? But for right now, before I even think to buy, like I said at the beginning for Nas, I'm not worrying about buys until either if it breaks, okay. But really, I want to see the close of the gap. And then same thing for Nas. If it breaks, we can scalp up into this level. I'll give you all the scalp setup earlier. I almost post my eye. But if it doesn't break, ooh, I want to see the close of the gap. I would look to take buys around here. So like even if it does this, I'm not gonna just enter as soon as it pushes down 24 246. I'm gonna let it sweep the lows, come back to show me where the new support is. Once I get my confirmations of what I like to see, then I'll execute, take buys off of it. Just that simple. We don't gotta rush nothing because the way how about between the volatility that's coming and where we are at, like price structure wise, it would be no reason to. Like even if I wanted to wait till what's today? Today's Monday. I could wait till Wednesday if I wanted to, and it'll still be crazy opportunities on the charts. Especially because we just talked about this dropping on Wednesday, and then Thursday, if the shutdown is lifted finally, then we get all this news and data that comes out. And this news alone is what used to always make the market move too. So this will literally be enough for the release to cause the rally all the way back up to the upside. But we'll see. We will see. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Is there anything else I want to talk to you about? I know I want to talk to you about something about gold. I can't remember what it was. I don't remember what I was saying. I know I was gonna talk to my cab members about it, but I guess I'll talk about it here too. I don't really care. Gold, as you can see, has been printing a printing cheat code. The same thing I've been preaching to y'all for the longest, since the beginning of the year. Understand the trend. If you understand the trend, trading gold is literally bulletproof. It's literally printing money. If it's in the uptrend, what do we look for? We look for the highs, right? We get our high. All we look for is we waiting for the market to give us a higher low. I'm not looking to buy gold off of a break. I don't care about breakout the zones and none of that. I'm only entering gold off of the higher lows. That is where I'm taking my buys. So every time I take off for buys, if I missed it, all right, cool. I'm gonna wait for the pullback. I'm not worrying about the fear of missing out. I'm not chasing the market. I'm just waiting for my pullbacks. And then I'm looking to take buy entries off the higher lows only. As you can see here, the whole month of September so far. This is August, September, create a higher low, choppy. You got a consolidation. This, I'll say September is really kind of like, it was the start of the higher lows. It started getting like choppy sideways markets for some weeks. So like here, this was the zone that it was stuck in, broke out, it sold off a little bit. And then I want to show y'all, as we get into October, how are we looking? And I'm on a 4-hour time frame, so that's why I look so much structured. Look, let me show y'all. And then I'm not gonna hold y'all up. This is gonna be my last segment for the night. Here, took off for the buys. What did I do? We wait for a pullback. Give me a higher low entry. This will be the area that I'll be looking for to take buys. Why? Because to the left of the chart, this is a support structure. I'm taking buys. Where am I taking buys to? Back to the previous high. If it fails to break this time, then I know once again I can look for the same sell setup back to the same support structure, or chill and wait for the next pullback again if I don't want to take the sales. It gave you the sell off, it pulled back. If I show y'all the fibs, this should be the 78, right? With the 78, close back above the 61, take it back off again for the buys. Created a double bottom, took it back off again for the buys. It ran, right? It started selling off again, created a higher low right here. This is the next buy entry that you want to take. Boom, breaks off again. You don't buy off of the break, you wait for the pullback. Right? I'm gonna say it again. You don't buy off the break, you wait for the pullback. If you find yourself, you looking at gold and it already took off on you, just wait. Just wait. Just sit on your hands. Do not take a trade because you'll have, unless you're comfortable with drawdown, unless you have a large portfolio to where you're like, all right, cool, I'm not tripping on the pullback. Cool. But if you're like, oh, Abe, I only got $100, $200 to trade with, and I'm trying to hurry into the trade, no. Wait for the pullback, enter out the higher low, and you're good to go. If you got $1,000, you might be better off, or you might be able to take advantage of trying to like be in drawdown, but why even do that when you can just be disciplined? Wait for the higher low entry because it literally shows itself over and over again. Last week, it finally started selling off after, but same scenario that we just saw over here. Took off, found a high, pulled back, created a higher low, took off, fell to close, sold off again. And what do we see over here to the left? Same scenario. Took off, we got a resistance. It gave me a nice pullback. This is the higher low. I can take buys here if I want to. Where am I taking buys to? Back to the high. TP smash, fails to close above. Now what? It's sold over here to the left. So 9 times out of 10, we probably have a higher probability of selling here instead of trying to hope that it's going to break out of the zone and go for the buys. So we take sales back to the support structure. Right? Yes, it went for more, but the only goal is back to what started the sell, what started the buys, right? Back to this higher low. So that's all you need. And right now it's printing too. I think it's been printing like 400 pips on this end. But I guess I could show you this. Let's see. Yeah, literally. Just off of one move, been going for 400 pips. And if you're a swing trader on gold, come on, bro. So literally been a cheat code. I don't really trade it as much as I used to, but I do teach y'all about it. So that's my little my 1-2 gems. If I was trading it this week, since it technically already came up in here, this is literally what we just talked about. I probably would have been in sales up in this level. But right now, honestly, I still do like the sales. But I'll probably say wait to probably like 9 or 10 just to make sure. But we already understand where it's going. Right back to the structure right here. Yes, oh, why are you not going all the way down here? It could, but we're gonna go based off of what we saw the previous data when it got stuck in that zone. So this is where gold should be going. And then this will be an area that I'll potentially look for to buy if it decides to close back in the zone, back above the zone. Let's see. So this is what it's looking like. Yeah, actually, let me rewind this. All this is the real consolidation. Everything else that happened outside of the zone was just noise, right? So broke out. Obviously, I'm pretty sure it was news that came out. Let me fast forward this a little bit. The moment it closes back inside the zone, it should have stayed outside the zone. If it would have stayed outside of the zone, then we would have been looking for downtrends. But since gold decided to come back inside the zone, that's why today I'm like, okay, cool. You came back inside the zone. Now, if you're going to sell off, we want to see a retest back to the same zone again. And failure to close back under lets me know that you're ready to continue for that trend. And who knows, by 9 o'clock, none of this will probably matter. And we might be seeing a breakout, which is totally fine because we're going to what? Wait for the retest to create a higher low. And this area is going to be our buy entry right off of this resistance. Like I just did that in I didn't give you a full gold training, probably like 15, 20 minutes. It wasn't even that long. I probably said like 10, 15 minutes. But that's how I've been, like when it's trending, that's how I trade it. That's how I be capitalizing off of gold. But mainly, yes, I do only trade these bad boys right here. Germany 40, NAS, and US 30. All right. I see everybody still chilling. I don't see no questions. Like I said, I'm not gonna hold y'all too long. I probably didn't already started. I've been yapping for like 30 minutes, not that bad. I got the US 30 set up, I got the NAS 100 set up. Both trades. Well, I'll give you multiple different trades. Both pairs are valid. If you want to decide like, oh, I only want to focus on one pair, do that. If you decide that you want to trade both of them, both setups, do that as well. If you join late, the live's still gonna be on the YouTube channel afterwards, so just rewind the video. And for my academy students that's watching this, we will be live on Tuesday. Remember, every Tuesday and Thursdays, 9:15 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Right? If there's ever a time change, I'll let y'all know. I'll either post it on Instagram or I'll just post it on the website. But it will always really just be 9:15 to 10:15. Unless I add in some Tokyo sessions. But like I said, that just depends on if y'all want that. I tried Tokyo session. I've been killing Tokyo session. But when I did the poll a while back, I asked y'all, did y'all want New York or did y'all want Tokyo? Everybody was like, oh, I want New York, New York, New York. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll keep the Tokyo trades to myself. All right. Got some updates I'm gonna do to the site once it's in. Be on the lookout for that. And then if not, I will catch you guys on Tuesday. Peace out.